Okay, so this series of examples are going to lead us towards a kind of jigsaw application. To start off with, we will be working through creating graphics, or the basic jigsaw kind of graphic. Then we'll be implementing some of the kind of logic behind that, and some of the control methods, such as making movie clips draggable, then collision detection, and then moving on to just pull it all together to make it more like a finalized application. Okay, so in the first section we will start up our document by choosing ActionScript 3, which is the language we're working in, and then setting the document settings. I'm going to work in 1280 by 720 in this case, to make it a reasonable sized document. The frame rate can stay at 24 for now, maybe run it up to 30 at a later point. We'll see how it works when we test it. Okay, I should make that default as well. Click OK, and I'll just zoom out a little bit. There are actually some options up in the top right corner where we can fit into window, like so. I prefer to have it a little bit further out than that to start off with. Okay, so the basics are, we would create a rectangle which will represent our image. So what I'll do is I'll make it like this for now. Take the outline away. Actually, I'll keep the outline and start off with. What I want to try and do is to make this a nice standard size. So the width is currently 771. I'll make it 800. 748. I'll make that. Just a little bit less than that, 720, so it fits on the screen. We'll be masking the photograph that we use eventually, so it's not really an issue, the size. But because it's 800, therefore it's easier to work with in terms of breaking down. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to View and bring up the rulers. And what I want to do is then decide how many pieces it will have. If we go 4 across, 3 down to 12 pieces, a nice easy jigsaw. So 4 across is obviously 200 pixels per section, and 3 down, 720 divided by 3 is 240. So then we use the scales at the top and the side to allow us to do that. So all we're going to do is drag in some guides to start off with. We can use the snap to 200, 400. You'll notice when you line up that the marker goes white on the ruler, and then 600. Like so, rolling down to 240, then 480. And that gives us 12 evenly sized pieces. What I'm going to do is, using the line tool, I'm then going to draw over those guides, and they should snap to. It doesn't matter if we run over 2, because I do want them to intersect. There we go. So I'm just running them over the guides for now. We can always delete any extra bits. The important thing is that they definitely intersect with the edges. Okay, I'll turn my view extras off, which is in guides, so that now we see the green lines that create the outline at the moment. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the oval tool to create some circles. What I want to do is to snap them onto the lines halfway down. So actually, I'll go back to guides again, showing the guides and just bring in some lines halfway down. I'll move the current ones halfway down using the selection tool. So and then I've one at 100, which is 50%. One at 3. One at 5. One at 7. And again, this one will be 120. 360. And I'll move the last one on to 480, 600. Should be halfway. Like so. Getting rid of this one here. So we've got one at halfway. This will allow us to snap the circle that we create. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the fill for now, and then just create one circle to be uniform, reasonable size, which I will then drag on to an intersection, like so. And then to copy it, I hold the, well, I normally use the Alt key. It doesn't actually work with this software at the same time. I'm just going to have to copy and paste, and I'll just put this back where it should be, 120. Just double check that. All of a sudden the circle's moved. Okay, just take a few steps back. I've got a bit of a conflict with the software there. I'll try again. So I want it to snap over onto the line like that, and hopefully fit perfectly on, or pretty close to perfect. Then I'll copy and paste. I'll actually paste it in place over the top, which is Control Shift V, or you can right click and choose paste in place if it will let you. There we go. Which I should then be able to pull down to the next line. Copy and then paste in place there. And put it onto there. And then what I'll do is I'll highlight all three. I'll actually paste in place and go across for each intersection. Approximately. Centralize that. So I'm just using Control Shift V at the moment to do that. And when I want to move one in place, I'm holding the Shift key to try and help it move along the axis that I'm following. Which is fine. So I've got the edges, and then what I want to do is to also put some on the bottom edges. And the way that I'll do that is to then look for the intersections here and here. So this is going to be quite a simple version. You might in a real jigsaw actually curve the lines afterwards going into these points. That's good. It's starting to give me some guidelines as well, which is quite useful. Actually, these ones are a little bit off. There we go. Okay, so with each one of those, what I'm going to do then is disregard certain sections. So for example, I'm going to select that half of the circle and delete it, and then the segment of line that falls between, like so. So I've got one coming off, and then what I'll do is delete this one the other way. And you see through the process of elimination and a bit of a pattern of switching between one way or the other, we will then start to see the rough shape forming. And that's just a case of using a fill and a stroke to produce different shapes, essentially. Which is one of the more useful features of Flash. It comes to really using different geometric shapes to build up something a little bit more complex. Go the other way with this one. Okay. It might prove to be a relatively slow process. But in reality it's only really a few minutes. Extra time and effort to do this. And get a nice fitting result. Okay, so just one piece left to do. Get rid of the bottom. And so by alternating where the wedges fit, as you can see, that's starting to look like a jigsaw puzzle. So all we would do then is use the fills to make movie clips. Now you'll notice select round them, all of the pieces apart from this bottom two and these top two are working. What I need to do with this line is I need to extend it so that it intersects the bottom. I'll just make sure it pulls across. So next when I hover over the end of it, it changes to a corner cursor, so that next to the arrow there's a little corner. This allows me to pull out a straight line rather than curving it. So now they're separate. So the last thing we want to do is then select the segment, convert to symbol, and I would just call that P1 to represent that it's piece 1. It's a movie clip, and I'll keep the registration point in the centre, and then we'll just move across the top and down to produce these movie clips. Okay, so we'll end the video at that point, and we'll pick it up again when they're all turned into movie clips.